Hello guys, this is Sri who is currently living in Lille campus, France, and I'm a student at Skema Business School in the field of supply chain management and purchasing. Yeah, why I chose France is because of the diversified culture in France. And as you know, the stayback period is 2 years after graduation, which is given for Indian students especially. Um, when compared to other countries like Sweden, wherein they are giving only 6 months post graduation. So this is the main reason which I chose France. And the French language is not only spoken in France, like it's been spoken across many parts of Africa as well, and in Canada, where one can try for the job opportunities in future as well. Yeah, it's completely taught in English. No need to worry regarding that. And during weekends, Schema also provides French course as well, wherein one can enroll, and it's completely free of cost. The supply chain, the Schema stands in number one position as of now, and there'll be always rivalry between kids and Schema for the number one ranking for us for the supply chain course. Yeah, basically, I'm an industrial engineering graduate. Um, um, as you're aware, it's IEM, which is the sub branch of mechanical.
Mhm.
And I worked as a 1 year in apprenticeship in BEML before coming to France. So usually in Schema, they didn't ask any work experience prior to that. So there is option of 1 year and 2 year MSc as well. So if one has 4 year bachelor degree, he or she can directly come into the 1 year course. It's the curriculum is like that, like 8 months of classes and 6 months of internship, followed by parallel thesis as well. And even didn't ask for any IELTS or GMAT score as well, wherein I took as a safety. That's it. The schema just asks for the medium of instruction certificate from the respective university, stating like the course was completely taught in English.
Yeah.
It's what the students require before applying. They won't ask, but only I had to give the interview in front of the program director by the means of Skype or Visio Talent, which they use in Schema. No, they didn't. As I told, they were not too much concerned about the percentage or work experience before. So if I told you, like there's option for both 1 year and 2 year as well. Like as you know, like in month of June, where a few forest fires incidents which happened.
Yeah, yeah.
So during that time, it was very hot. It was like 38, 30, 40 degrees, which was the temperature. So 2 weeks after that, it came back. It was back to normal. Even it won't go up to 25 also. It will be 18 or 20, which I can say during the summer season. From June to September, it's the summer season. So currently now it's the autumn season, and from December the winter season will start. Lille is okay, like one can manage the weather as well, and like the temperature also it won't fall to the negative grade as like when compared to South France, the cities like Marseille and Montpellier. Yeah, this is far better in terms of temperature. Okay, I booked this accommodation through Studapart, which is trustworthy because they have tie-up with Schema, and one can easily trust StudeApart. Um, so the rent which I'm paying is 350 euros per month.
Okay.
That is in
The utilities, everything is added in that as like.
yeah, completely inclusive of all.
Okay, great.
So like Lille is suitable for a student-friendly life is what I can say. Like if you compare to cities like Paris, rent is very expensive. It would be around 600 or 650 euros for the shared accommodation. But in Lille, in shared accommodation, it will be 350 or 380 maximum. So one can also go for individual accommodation, which is known as studios in France.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be around 420 to 450 is the price range for a studio in Lille. I didn't find any issues while finding this place. So StudeApart also helped me with that.
Okay.
And there is other website called Coin. Accommodation is very much required before the visa process, because otherwise the visa will be rejected without the accommodation. I guess one can manage with within 250, 300 euros maximum on personal expenses. So overall, 700 euros is the rough figure which is required in city like Lille.
Okay.
So we also have a CAF facility, which is the housing subsidy given by the France government, which wherein a student can enroll after coming to France. Nearby, I have one or two Indian stores as well. But if one wants to find a lot of Indian shops, he or she can go to Paris, because there are a lot of Indian shops over there, and they have been settled since 2008 or 2010.
Okay.
So in Paris, it's not difficult to find any Indian shop over there. And 180 kilometers from Lille.
Okay. 180 kilometers. Okay.
Yeah. So by train, it's a 45-minute journey.
Okay.
High-speed train, and by bus it takes a lot of time. Even though it's cheap, it's time consuming. Student pass, like if a student is below 26 years of age, it's of one has to pay 30 euros per month for the metro pass, which is which, which is called as Ilevia pass in Lille.
Mm-hmm.
So with that pass, one can avail the facilities of bus, trains, and tram, all three. And above 26 years, like one has to pay around 62 euros.
Okay.
And also, if a student is getting CAF, there'll be it will be reimbursed to the bank account. Like, so that's the reason CAF is very much required for all. Around 7.5 out of 10. And the lectures were good, and like many of them, they hold a PhD degree as well.
Okay. Great.
And yeah, like as I told, Lille is completely a student friendly, wherein a student can enjoy in Lille, and there are a lot of hangout places nearby as well. The only business which is happening from Asia is by only Indian and through Chinese students for Schema, and there are a lot of students from India and China. And for supply chain, there are very less students, local students, that is from France. So I guess one day there would be a slight increase in the number of French students as well. Supply chain, we had 3 sections in total of a strength of 93.
Okay.
So each section we had 30 students. So in my section, there were around 12 Indians. And many of them were from the northern part of India when I talk in general. A student can work up to 20 hours per week. And the pay scale is like 11 euros per hour, which a student can earn in part-time. Part-time, like a student, he or she can go for dishwashing,
Okay.
or as a bartender. In terms of supply chain, there is RGIs, wherein one has to do the inventory counting.
Okay.
So like if one is very much focused on their field, he can go for the RGI's job. So I tell, like, if a student knows French, it's not very tough to find one part-time job, because many of the places, they do ask French. I advise students to learn at least 2 or 3 levels in India before coming to France.
Okay.
Because
getting opportunities
because within the campus one can manage, but post completion it becomes tough to find a job without knowing French. Here, like in Lille, I didn't find any much issues with the localites. They do welcome with like, yeah, like it's a student friendly. Like there are no issues with like if one goes to post offices or the supermarkets, people do not speak in English, and especially the older generation. There are no racial discrimination which have been faced in the past since my arrival. And as I stated, many of the companies, they do prefer French-speaking candidates rather than the English-speaking. Like we had to like we had only for the main exams we had either MCQs or the case study questions, not like the one which I did in bachelor's, wherein we had to study the whole textbook and go and write the exam and to give the exam. Turns it would be 800 euros per month is the monthly salary which one can get. So if it's converted into full-time job, one can earn up to 2,500 euros per month. It's not as of in India, where they used to provide placement opportunities as such, and one has to look into to the means of Glassdoor or LinkedIn. But we just went and submitted the resumes over there. And usually they picked only the local students rather than the international students. There are generally 2 intakes which will happen per year.
Okay.
The major and minor intake. So the major intake is during the month of September.
Okay. And
minor intake will be during the month of January, the September 21 intake, the previous year.
Okay.
The major intake which I called.
Okay, great.
And I prefer to choose the major intake rather than the minor intake, because because during the minor intake there would be 4 months of gap which would be given from May till August. So even if a student goes for any internship, a few companies, they do not consider as the experience in the future. It's just better to come 2 days before the orientation day. Like I booked this accommodation, if I remember, in month of June or July. That is before the visa interview in VFS.
Okay.
So once after landing to France, a student has to complete the OFI process. Student has arrived on this date, and it's completely online process. No need to go to any of the offices. In France, they ask for a monthly statement of 615 euros per month, 615.
Okay.
Multiplied by the course period, and like for 2-year period, it's 615 multiplied by 24. Or for 1 year, I had to show around 6280 euros per in the bank. So once a student lands into France, like they have to subscribe to Amélie, which is the local health insurance provider. So with that, one can avail up to 70% discounts in hospitals and as well as in pharmacies. Free of cost.
Completely
They're
free.
not charging anything.
Okay, that's great. So healthcare is completely free of cost, sir.
Yeah, and if one wants to add a complimentary, go for card mutual. So wherein Amelie covers only 70% of the medical expenses. So if a student can subscribe to the another complimentary health insurance package, and the complete 100% package will be given. One has to pay around 15 euros per month to the government for the complimentary health package. As I stated, without Amelie, one cannot go for the complimentary. Amelie is very much required in the initial stage. Yeah, so for international student like me, I have to stay here for 5 years to get a French citizen since my arrival, and I need to clear minimum of 4 levels of French. The local prefecture will call for an interview.
So you need to score good in that. You need to have good fluency in French as a language as well.
Yeah, and all the interview also it will be happening in French in the prefecture.
Okay.
So they do ask general questions like why you're giving up the Indian citizenship. So these are the questions which they raise.
So,
So after that,
more skill as a student.
yeah. So after that, one has to wait for 6 months for the results, whether to know like one has passed or failed.